Africa in ancient times. Timeline. 8000 BCE, the Nilo-Saharans invent pottery. 7000 BCE, plant and animal domestication. So fauna and flora domestication begins in Egypt. 4000 BCE, domestication of sorghum in sub-Saharan Africa. 2686 BCE, Kerma is settled. 1000 BCE, ironworking begins in Africa. 730 BCE, Kushite king conquers Egypt. 350 BCE, construction of pyramids at Meroe begins. 332 BCE, Macedonia conquers Egypt. 250, Carthage becomes a major power. 218 BCE, Carthage invades Italia. 69 BCE to 30 BCE, Cleopatra rules Egypt. And of course, Carthage invades Italy in 218, is finally crushed. Not the last defeat, but there is a big defeat at the Battle of Zama in the year 202. 69 BCE to 30 BCE, Cleopatra rules Egypt, and from 30 BCE, we have Roma conquers Egypt. So Rome conquers Egypt at that point in time. The Bantu migrations are the millennia-long expansion of Bantu-speaking peoples southward from West and Central Africa, spreading to a common cultural foundation that included language, farming, and ironworking. The Berbers is the name used by the Carthaginians, the Greeks, and Romans to describe the native peoples of the Maghreb. Today, this population generally self-identifies as Amazigh or Amazigh. Biome is a community of vegetation and wildlife adapted to a particular climate, and there are many biomes on our planet. Cataract, a place in a river where the otherwise placid flow is upset by a waterfall, a shallow portion, or the presence of boulders. And of course, so if you're navigating through a river and there's a lot of rapids and things of that nature, in order to avoid them, you might be able to find an eddy or something like that to veer off and get out. But anyway, we have the Fufa, which is a type of monumental mud brick structure unique to Nubian civilization and believed to have served a religious function. Kentake, a Kushite title that roughly translates to Queen Mother and was a powerful position in Meroitic Kush. Maghreb, the western half of North Africa, including most of present-day Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Libya. Nubia, the name that the Egyptians gave to the expansive area south of the First Cataract and extending into sub-Saharan Africa. It included the Kingdom of Kush. Nubia included the Kingdom of Kush. Sahel, an east-west belt of semi-arid grassland that forms a transitional zone between the Sahara and the north and the equatorial rainforest to the south. Savanna, a grassy plain with scattered trees found to the north and south of the tropical African rainforest. And of course, we grazed the savanna, our homeland, going from one patch of trees to another, eventually walking and becoming the man who walks upright. More than 11 million square miles in size, Africa is Earth's second largest continent and home to a huge diversity of geographies and climates. Its environments range from arid desert scapes with sand dunes hundreds of feet high to lush tropical rainforests that are blanketed by impenetrably dense foliage. Its peoples have adapted to these environments over millennia, and a millennium is 1,000 years or 10 centuries, and millennia would be the plural form, meaning multiple 1,000 years. So in 10 centuries or more, actually 20 centuries or more. And their achievements were very great, but extreme climates wreak havoc on the historical record. Ancient Africa was nevertheless a marvelous mosaic of unique civilizations, and the more historians work at uncovering their pasts, the clearer our picture or portrait will be of their accomplishments and their contributions to world history. Now, concerning Africa's geography and climate. Geography played a crucial role in the development of early human civilizations in Africa, with climate conditions like temperature and rainfall shaping agricultural seasons, while the fertility of the soil determined the types of crops that would be grown and the availability of grazing land. Water sources were key to determining the possibility of fixed settlements. Africa's diverse geography supported a wide range of peoples, from desert dwelling to rainforest dwelling, the desert dwelling San to the rainforest dwelling Baka, each developing lifestyles and cultures that were shaped by and adapted to their specific environments. Concerning the emergence of farming and the Bantu migrations. The earliest evidence of plant domestication in Africa was found in Egypt, the Eastern Sahara, and West Africa. In Egypt, agricultural practices from Southwest Asia introduced wheat and barley, which spread across North Africa over time. In West and Central Africa, plant domestication, including crops like sorghum, yams, watermelons, and African rice, developed independently. Iron technology played a significant role in farming, particularly in Central Africa, where it was developed independently, allowing for more efficient land clearing and farming. By the year 500 BCE, Bantu-speaking peoples, who likely originated in West and Central Africa, used iron tools to aid their migrations. Their gradual spread, starting around 3000 BCE, transformed agriculture and the linguistic landscape of sub-Saharan Africa and its peoples. Nubia, located between Aswan in Egypt and the confluence of the Blue and White Nile rivers, thrived due to its strategic location for Nile-based trade and fertile land. Again, we're talking now about the Kingdom of Kush, because the Kingdom of Kush is part of Nubia. The Kingdom of Kush, starting with the city-state of Kerma in the early 2nd century millennium BCE, absorbed many aspects of Egyptian culture, including language, religion, and architecture. During times of Egyptian weakness, Kush enjoyed independence, but was often subjugated when Egypt was strong. In the 8th century BCE, King Pi of Kush even conquered Egypt and took the throne. After Egypt was conquered by the Assyrians in the 7th century BCE, Kush retreated to Meroe, where it became known for its iron production and trade. The kingdom developed a distinctive culture, blending Egyptian and Nubian traditions, and created its own writing system. It maintained a long trading relationship with the Roman province of Egypt before eventually declining and fading out by the 4th century CE. And finally, we talk about North Africa's Mediterranean and trans-Saharan connections. North Africa became increasingly important in Mediterranean trade economies starting in the first millennium BCE, driven by its valuable commodities like salt, gold, ivory, which were transported across the Sahara by nomadic peoples. These goods were highly sought after by civilizations such as Egypt, Carthage, Greece, Rome, and then later the Vandals and the Arabs. The region, especially the fertile Maghrebi area near Carthage and the Nile Delta, was crucial to agricultural production, often referred to as the breadbasket of Rome. Egypt's stability was essential to this trade. When Cleopatra allied with Roman figures like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, Egypt fell under Roman control. Later, the Romans introduced the camel to North Africa, expanding the reach of trans-Saharan trade from the south of the desert to the Mediterranean coast.